This is a long one, but it's full of great information, so stick with it. State of Indiana, County of Carroll, State of Indiana versus Richard M. Allen. This is the state's response to defense's fourth motion for Frank's hearing. Now comes the State of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClellan and files its response to Richard Allen's fourth Frank's motion based on newly discovered evidence and request for hearing, referred to by the state as the defense's fourth motion of Frank's hearing. That, as in the previous three Frank's motions filed by the defense, the fourth motion illustrates a complete misunderstanding of the ruling in Franks v. Delaware, 438 U.S. 154, 1978, and the purpose of a Frank's challenge to a search warrant. The defense makes the same allegations in this motion as it has in its previous three motions, that Sheriff Tony Liggett failed to advise the judge of material facts, and that without these omissions, the search warrant would have not been issued. The defense consistently in the three previous Frank's motions have misstated and mischaracterized facts surrounding the case. That trend continues in this most recent Frank's motion. Defense's motion in paragraph 25 contains a list, A through I, of information that the defense asserts should not have been omitted from the probable cause affidavit for the search warrant. However, the information is either irrelevant for probable cause purposes or wholly inaccurate. The state has addressed most of these inaccurate facts in previous replies to Frank's motions. The new topic that the defense focuses on in the fourth Frank's motion is the AT&T pings. The defense includes in this motion information about pings generated by AT&T on February 13, 2017 through February 14, 2017. The defense also includes statements made by Sergeant Blocker when he was consulted by Steve Mullins about the pings. The information in the motion shows that the defense does not understand the information contained in the pings and then exacerbates the problem with mischaracterizing the statements by Sergeant Blocker. Further, contrary to what the defense motion states, the defense have known about the pings well before April 26, 2024 discovery disclosure. The location given comes with an inaccuracy range anywhere from 400 meters up to 25,000 meters. Those inaccuracy ranges can differ based on several factors. A tower can lose contact with the device because the device runs out of power, or because the device loses cellular service. Law enforcement use this as a tool in certain cases to attempt to locate a cellular device. It is not always an accurate way to locate a device, but can be used as a tool to help determine the location of the device. In our current case, when the girls went missing, law enforcement contacted AT&T and asked AT&T to ping the cell phone of Liberty German. This was done in an effort to locate the girls. The pings came in from AT&T every 15 minutes. That means that AT&T would send an email to law enforcement every 15 minutes showing the ping results of pinging Liberty German's phone. Each ping will give a longitude and latitude of the device with a radius estimate and the source of the data. The location data is not a pinpoint location, but can range in accuracy based on radius estimate and or based on the contact that the phone had with the tower. If the phone did not have contact with the tower, the longitude and latitude is based on historical location data. In those cases, there will not be an inaccuracy range because the location is based on historical data and not live data. The defense deposed Indiana State Police Sergeant Greg Edwards on February 27, 2024. The defense presented the AT&T pings to Sergeant Edwards for his review. Sergeant Edwards explained the data in the pings to the defense at that time. Sergeant Edwards stated, so those emails began coming in, and you've got this text block that has to do with, again, the case ID or number that they've assigned to it. AT&T has assigned to it. You've got the mobile number, so the mobile phone number that is assigned to that device that they're currently pinging, and we can see the last 4 digits here are 7599. Confidence level they might put in, whether or not that was a high confidence location for it, meaning that they had a lot of good information coming in from the device and from the tower network to say it's real close within this area. They might say it's a low confidence area, meaning that it's quite large, or here they aren't even listing a confidence area. So I don't know what to say about that confidence area. Sometimes the confidence level, they'll have a size in meters. So say that this is within 1,000 meters. We believe that that device is somewhere within 1,000 meters of this geolocation. So that's what they'll list in the confidence area. Then the latitude and the longitude, so they give you a latitude and longitude coordinates so you can plot that on the map. And then radius, location accuracy unknown, so they didn't give us. That's why there's no confidence level. There's no number of meters from the geo point that associated with it. And then data source is telling us that that's coming from historical records. That's not coming from the device like live and active. They're providing information that's coming from. They're going back and they're collecting information from the historical call detail records. Sergeant Edwards later says, with AT&T, part of the reason why it says historical here is that if they say, all right, we're going to ping that phone, but they can't get to the phone, well, then they'll use the last known location from the historical records. So that is different than the live ping. It's going back to the historical records saying we can't find the phone right now, but here's where we know it was last. The ping emails collected all show historical data. That means that the tower could not find the phone at the moment the ping was initiated, so it just gave the service provider the historical data location. That doesn't mean that the phone wasn't in the area or the phone wasn't in working condition. It means the tower could not contact the phone. That historical data continues through all the pings. Sergeant Edwards did his very best to explain to the defense the information on the ping returns. He attempted to explain to them how pings work, what the longitude and latitude data means, and what historical location means. The defense still does not understand how to interpret the pings from AT&T. The pings from AT&T show the location of the phone through historical data. That means that the tower is not contacting the phone. The defense then goes on to mischaracterize Sergeant Blocker's statements contained in Steve Mullins' report. Sergeant Blocker reports that from his evaluation, the last contact that the phone had with the cellular tower was at 5:44 p.m. on February 13, 2017. AT&T shows that there have been no contact with the tower since then. From that information, he determined that the phone was no longer in the area or no longer in working condition. The defense wants this to mean that the phone is no longer in the area from the evening of February 13, 2017 until the morning of February 14, 2017. That is not what it means. It means that since the pings were only showing the historical data location, the phone was not having contact with the tower. Sergeant Blocker explained that they could be because the phone was not in the area, but it could also mean the phone just was not working. This is consistent with the pings collected from February 13, 2017 through February 14, 2017. The pings are giving an estimated longitude and latitude based on historical data, location information, not live pings. This information is consistent with the information in the probable cause. The information that we have is that the girls were dropped off at the trails around 1:30 on February 13, 2017, and that at 2:13 p.m. their kidnapper ordered them down the hill. There is no evidence that the girls were ever taken from the area or that they were brought back to the area later to be murdered. Every indication is that they were ordered down the hill and then murdered soon after. The historical location data from the AT&T pings does not mean the phone was not in the area during the evening of February 13, 2017 until the morning of February 14, 2017. It is another example of the defense taking information and stating that it means something different than it does. This is consistent throughout their Franks motions. The state has outlined the test used in Franks in its prior response. In order to have a Franks hearing, the defense's attack on probable cause must be based on deliberate falsehood or acts of reckless disregard for the truth, and those allegations must be accompanied by an offer of proof. The claim should point out specifically the portion of the warrant affidavit that is claimed to be false and should be accompanied by affidavits or sworn statements or reliable statements of witnesses. The defense must show that there is inaccurate or omitted information and that probable cause is lacking if the omitted information is included. Franks v. Delaware, 438 U.S. 154, 1978. Herein, the defense claims omissions, if included, would negate probable cause for the search warrant of Richard Allen's residence. The defense has not met its burden. The omitted information from the AT&T pings does not negate the fact that Richard Allen places himself on the bridge at the same time that Liberty German took the video of the bridge guy, who ordered the girls down the hill. Further, Richard Allen admits that he was wearing clothing matching the clothing that bridge guy was wearing that day. That, along with the eyewitness testimony and the other evidence gathered, establishes probable cause that Richard Allen is bridge guy, and he is the one who kidnapped the girls. Wherefore, now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClellan and files a response to the defendant's fourth motion of Franks hearing and would ask the court to find that the defense has not met its burden to warrant a Franks hearing. The motion contains nothing more than their beliefs about what the AT&T pings mean without an understanding of what the data means. Sheriff Tony Liggett did not intentionally or recklessly omit evidence or lie about evidence of the probable cause affidavit to support the search warrant in an effort to mislead the judge. The facts in the affidavit are true and accurate and are supported by evidence collected in the case. Sheriff Tony Liggett relied on the evidence when drafting the affidavit for the search warrant as the best reliable information known to him and related to Richard Allen at the time of the request. That there are no inaccuracies or omissions in the probable cause for the search warrant that are of a material nature, and the defense argument that law enforcement dishonestly is pervasive and relates back to the affidavit in question is not supported by sworn statements, affidavits, or other reliable statements. Nicholas C. McClellan, Attorney 28300-08, Prosecuting Attorney. And now you're up to date with the motion to drop the Franks motion. We'll be back with more. It just keeps getting more and more interesting. Thanks for listening to Deb's True Crime Notebook. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click that bell for all notifications, leave us a message, and share this with a friend or in a group.